you guys? I hope you guys are doing well. I am stopping through here very quickly because I'm being a woman of my word. And I said that this up and coming week is my birthday week. And I was going to be bestowing some gifts onto my people. I feel like I want to work with the number 5 this week. So everything is going to be along or adds up to 5. And so the first gift that I'm going to be offering you guys, and of course, when you wake up the 16th, we'll say probably, as soon as you get up. I will try to put it on there right now before I even lay down. But I'm going to be doing something I've done before where people are asking questions about their energy and their spiritual powers and spiritual abilities and what are their gifts. And so I'm going to be offering for Monday only, the 16th, okay? For June 16th, Monday only, for $55, we're going to give you a spiritual gift reading. What is your spiritual gifts? What energies are, that you're good with, or what energies, should you be giving discipline on? And that's something too that I will go into lightly here as well. Like, you guys, what separates spiritual people from mundane people is the ability of taking responsibility and accountability, as well as for, gaining, discipline, mastering your own energies, your own emotions. The mundane people, the mundane world, when they're upset, they act out, they throw temper tantrums. When you're spiritually inclined, unless you are threatened, unless you're, your livelihood is threatened, unless you feel like you're in danger, you typically, think things through. Okay. And so there's a lot with that. And so that's, discipline. That's our key word, right? Discipline. And so that goes to a lot. And even like I'm sitting here, and this always helping out when I'm sitting here having topics with y'all, or I'm discussing things, like there's so much I can go into when it comes to the lack of discipline that a lot of so-called spiritual awakened people have. And I was even telling some of my people, one of my sisters today, baby, this year, okay, I'm gonna be working on really minding my business, being very self-focused, not self-centered, but self-reserved. Honey, if it does not affect me directly, it's not my business unless you're gonna pay for me to mind that business. Listen, I'm a part of many communities, but baby, what have you done for me lately? That's what it comes down to. What have you done for me lately? What have you done for me in the past? Like I say, collectively, people want to act and move as a community when it's bad times, but when it's good times, it's, screw you, whatever, or they want to get over on you, whatever. So like I said, me personally, I'm not about, it's about finding my tribe. Okay. The people I love, the people that vibe with, baby, I will be, worried about them, thinking about them. But like I said, everything else and everyone else, girl, listen, like I said, if it does not concern me, I'm minding my business. I was even looking up today, what do you call people that mind their business? And they didn't really have terms for it. They were like, well, it depends on what type of, business you want to be minding. I'm like, girl, so just say I keep to myself. Okay. I'm a very keep to myself type of person. Okay. And so the title of this video, y'all, is why don't they lead by example? Like I said, Monday, and I'm gonna, be quick with it right now. Monday, energetic, spiritual gift reading. And of course, on the blog spot, I would tell you what I need from you to, get into that energy. And then we'll go from there. I watched something earlier today, y'all, and it was a lot with a lot. And I said, well, you know what? We're starting, to mind our business. I will make comments on a few things, but trust when I tell you this, baby, I'm not losing any sleep over this. and or, getting worked up or investing anything into it outside of just an opinion. Because collectively people watch, right? We watch the same shit. So I've always been curious of people, why do people separate magical practices from psychic abilities? And what I mean by that is, why do people separate conjurers, magical working spellcasters from people who can interpret energy? Because I would hate to think that I don't know energy, I can't interpret energy, because that's what psychics do. They interpret energy. Regardless of what Hollywood told you, psychics are and what they do, they interpret energy. So whether it's hearing energy, feeling energy, tasting energy, whatever, it's energy interpretation. So I would hate to think that somebody, no, let's keep it on myself. I would hate to think that I don't know energy, I can't interpret energy, but I'm doing workings with energy. I'm invoking energy, and I don't know how this energy is going to fall, how it's going to go, where it's going to come from, etc., etc. The more spiritual practices that you do, the more spiritually in tune you become with energies and frequencies, which then in return heightens your spirituality, which then heightens your intuitive abilities. And so, I was watching something, and it's a group of spiritual people, of a particular shade. And when I say that, from here on out, I'm talking about Black people, particular shade. And they were, speaking about people doing magic and people not knowing the consequences of their magic. And, people do hexes and, spell work on people. And sometimes they do these rituals based off of what the psychic told them. And the psychic did not have the information. Now, this is what they said verbatim. The psychic did not have the accurate information. And so they, go into a tangent, they do the work, and not knowing the repercussions to this work. Now, I always tell you, I'm a love and light type of woman. Back in the day, I have done things, I've dabbled, I've done things with, for people, with people, to fuck people up that, I felt like, was fucking with me. And in hindsight, it really wasn't that serious. The way I went about it, I could have went about it another way. And so I'm always, explaining to everyone, when we do a reading and you're asking me for my opinion, or I'm doing the work on you, because I do not advise on other people's work, I will tell you that, I would give you my opinion on the best route. And my best route is putting in the light, not taking from the light or taking out the light. Because of course, a lot of times in the moment we're upset, we're irate, and that's why I even mentioned as well why a lot of times I don't like to start on spiritual work immediately. Unless it's that type of thing where I'm like, y'all, you send over money for a reading today, right now, I'm available within the next hour or two. I like to give it time, because a lot of times people, they hit me up and they're in a state of, fear. They're angry. They want to like do death spells on people and shit. And I want people to understand that regardless of who and what these people, that you're dealing with, who does work, no matter how experienced they are, the energy you put out, you get back. The energy that you build up, and that's what I tell y'all too, when it comes to doing nasty work, I don't do nasty work in my home. Your home is like a box, right? It's like a temple. And so the energy that's worked there, it stays there. And of course, it goes out when the door opens. And of course, other energy could come in when the door opens. And if you set up your house the way I teach you guys how to when it comes to house blessings and house protection, nothing bad will follow you into your home. But either way, it stays there. That energy ripples back and forth. It just, it cycles there. When you're doing negative workings within your home, that energy stays there. And so when you're trying to get good, bad comes. And you're like, well, what's going on? How my life get fucked up? And so either way, going back into that discussion, you have to be very mindful. That's where discipline comes to that. You have to be very mindful about the energies you're working with and why you want to work with those energies. And I always tell y'all, I always say, baby, I prefer to do light work before I go to the dark work. Because the dark work takes a lot out, especially being someone like me. I'm not a malicious person. I'm not out to get people. And so, being a high vibrational, positive individual, and now I'm stooping low to fuck with nasty ass energy, it takes a toll on me. And so even I tell y'all going into, midnight mentionals and stuff, and I start tapping into these cases, when these cases are like dark and just there's a lot going on and y'all, like it's traumatizing and it takes me to a whole nother level, and that's not how I live my life. And so even going into doing dark work, I don't live my life with, fucking with people and fucking up people. I'm definitely about justice work. Like somebody, like I said, tried to get you, your kids taken away. Someone tried to fuck up your home. They tried to get you evicted. They tried to get you to lose your house, whatever. Justified work, I'm always down for. But just because somebody rolled the eyes at you, just because your man didn't want to be with you no more because you don't cook for him, you don't clean for him, you don't give him what he wants, and now he moved on to the next person, now you're upset, now you want to put working on her, I'm not the girl for you. I'm not a bitter, basic spiritualist, okay? And I will never be that, okay? And so no matter how much money you think you have for me, I'm not going to accept that. And so that's how I've always been, and that's how I will always move. Okay. And so, like I said, you have to be very mindful about the energies that you're dealing with. And that even segues over to a lot of discussions that I have on my channel and how I express myself. You guys, I'm not like just sitting here bored and saying, who can I talk about today? That's why I don't do commentating. I'm not a commentator. I don't do interviews. I don't do reviews. I don't play videos of people and give you my feedback on the videos that I saw about people. You know what I mean? I don't do that because in my mind, I'm like, I'm sure we all have room for growth. We all have room to do better. But when I see things and I speak about things, y'all, I really see potential in this situation or these people to do better. And it drives me nuts. And it pushed me to the point of like being really irritated when people are shown that what they're dealing with is self-inflicted. What they're dealing with could be changed by just them changing what they're doing. And instead of them acknowledging that and doing it, they're blaming everyone else but themselves. And you wonder why you're still dealing with it. Like shit like that irritates me. And so even going into somebody's videos, titled, when will they lead by example? I've seen a lot of people of a particular color speak about how they're pro, their color, they're pro this, they're pro that. And they're here to save the women and the children. And they want, this love to grow and they need their people to be stronger. But they're not really leading by example. Like a lot of these people, and I'm willing to give grace to these people because I'm always about holding people accountable, responsible for their actions. Because we all been through some shit. Being a ethnic trans woman, okay, hello, in a particular era, baby, I've been through shit too. Girl, I could just fall back on and say, hey, start doing shit too and say, well, is it because I was trans and I was bullied? I can fall back on it too. And so either way, these people, they used excuses for their upbringing of why they grew up to be fucked up as people. And going into a particular community, and I like to call it the conscious community, because I know there's a level to that, and they're all usually a part of that, and they come for those who are outsiders, because I'm an outsider. I'm not a part of that stuff. Don't plan on being a part of it because I'm not a traumatized Black American. But either way, they, instead of them teaching their people how to heal themselves, and not all of them, I do want to say that, not all of them, but instead of teaching these people how to heal themselves and, going into the women, right? Because I feel like, ethnic women, Black women are the most hurt. I do feel like they are the most dogged, the most disrespected. And of course, sometimes, some of them get disrespected in their dog because, hey, they dog out people. So it comes back to them. But collectively, it's fucked up. And so I'm thinking like, girl, when I got on here and these women of a particular color, was like coming for me, I thought they were going to like start, teaching women how to like take care of themselves, how to, want better, want more out of life, stop settling for dusties and musties and, basic ass energy, especially you call yourself a goddess. You get your hair done, you do your makeup and stuff. The girls who don't do that, I'm not talking to you. Okay, that's your business. But the girls who get their makeup done, who get their nails done, who take a bath, clean themselves properly. I'm thinking that you'd want better, you'd want more. And so I'm expecting these women to like do that, right? And instead they were kind of like playing both sides. Like this person is coming for us and coming for Black women, and how dare this person? And they probably dogged a Black mama and da 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 da. And then I'm still waiting for them to, like I said, show these Black women how to love themselves. And this is what I did when I was younger, but this is not the way to go about it. Instead, they were like teaching these people how to be fucked up like them. And so like I said, going into these conscious people and going into a lot of these Black spiritual enlightened people, between the criminal records, the drug abuse, the drug addiction, the drug selling, I'm just like, when will y'all lead by example? When will y'all tell your people that it's nobody else holding you back and stopping you? That it's all within your own self. It's all within your own community. Like, when are people going to be honest? When are people going to be truthful? And I noticed that honesty and directness, it rubs people the wrong way. Because people are so used to being lied to. They're so used to being told that McDonald's is good for them. They're so used to being told, that cigarettes is good, drinking is good, smoking is good. Oh, it makes you feel better. They're so used to being lied to. And so when someone kind of goes against the grain, and don't let it be somebody who's like raw with it, don't let it be a tranny. Don't let it be somebody who appears like they would be the worst of the worst, telling you what it is. Because baby, now it's really a problem. But on the same side, they're not upset. And that's something too that I'd be thinking about. I would be more upset about my baby father getting me pregnant and leaving me to defend for myself and take care of my kids by myself than some individual, whether it's a trans or not, coming for me and calling me a basic Black bee. Like, I would not be putting my energy into that. I would be putting my energy more into, I'm going to have to teach this mofo a lesson. And because he want to, treat me nasty, then I'm going to get nasty too. And like I said, go about it, the right way, go about it the legal way. And, that can mean any which way. But it's like, that's what I would be, and once again, this goes into maturity and taking accountability, responsibility, and having discipline, and also becoming wiser and not just becoming older. Because I think a lot of people are aging, but they're not experienced. I think this is it, I believe that's really what it is. I think a lot of people get older, but they don't know what it's like to socialize with the real world. They're only used to socialize with certain type of people or, like themselves, or they're only used to socialize with their family. And so, when they'll think it's okay because they're so used to seeing this within their own circle, that when the outside world is showing them that this is not okay, now it's, they're haters. They don't like us. They whatever. And so for me, like I said, that's always been my thing. Almost every so-called conscious leader of a particular race has either had a criminal record, and not nothing light, honey. And a lot of them have multiple accounts too. Hello? Not nothing light, honey, but most of them have, like I said, it's a lot. Not nothing light, not nothing, and even going into the males, like I feel like the males are a little more on the deep end because it's either like paraphernalia and they're selling shit to pregnant women. And that'd be another thing too. Like, if I was a man that liked women, I would do everything in my power to protect women. I wouldn't do anything at all, anything in my own ability to inflict harm on them in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't do that, right? Because I'm going to love I'm going to protect what I love. And so these male spiritualists, honey. Like I said, their criminal records are a little, worse. A lot of them were, were pimps. They were trafficking women and stuff, and some of them were touching on children and stuff, y'all. Like, it's some real deep shit out here. There's some real deep shit out here with these particular people of a particular culture, spiritualists. And so I was just like, girl, when are people gonna start leading by example? When are people gonna start saying, and even, hey, we all have our own, experiences. Sometimes, we fall down, but we get back up. What they say, for a saint is just a sinner who fell down and got back up. That's what Donna McClurkin said, right? And so it's not about you falling. It's really about how you gonna get up. And I see, hey, y'all, this is my past. Hey, y'all, hi, my name is, Mystic Butterfly, and I'm just here to lay it all out on the table. When I was young, I did a lot of foolish things like blank, 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 blank. But now that I'm older, I've become wiser, and I take full accountability and responsibility. And I've also sought out help because, of course, criminal behavior, they kind of call it mindless behavior. That's something that has to be, how would you say it? Not exercise. You would have to see a therapist for that. You couldn't just commit a crime and get over it. And the prison system and stuff, they know this. The correctional facilities, they know this. They know you cannot, if there's something in your brain that make you want to go and commit a crime and not think about it before you do it again, they know that there's something in there's a flaw in your character, and they know that. And the only way to get over that is therapy. Like I said, that's why I paid for therapy, y'all. I didn't pay for therapy because I thought I was the shit. Or I wanted to be the best bitch. I wanted to be better than everybody. But I thought it was everybody. Bitch, I have family that went to jail for the most dumbest shit. I have family that are still in jail for the most dumbest shit. I have family that go to jail almost every motherfucking week, every fucking month. Girl, you got to bail these motherfuckers out. And I said, girl, I do not want that. Listen, I do not want that for me. I didn't want to go to jail for slapping up my boss. I did not want to go to jail for showing up to my kid's school, because the teacher put my kid in in-school suspension because my kid was getting loud in class, and I'm ready to fight the teacher, so I go to jail. Like, I didn't want that for me. I didn't want to say, today I want to make a lot of money. And well, how am I going to do it? I'm going to do it the illegal way. And how is that? I'm going to go sell some drugs, blah, blah. And yes, girl, I was an escort. Escort is not illegal. Prostitution is. And unfortunately, a lot of prostitutes will say they're escorts. But like I said, baby, pull up anybody who paid for me as a escort that come out and say that we had sex, that we fucked. Like I said, listen, with proof, receipts, and all that, baby, I'm always down to have that discussion. I'm always down. I'm always down to it, baby, because like I said, I don't regret anything that I do. I'm not ashamed of anything that I've ever done, because it's made me who I am. I'm not afraid, I'm not ashamed, and I don't have no regrets. And so, like I said, there's a lot of confusion about people who would be like, I was chosen. And that goes into that as well. I used to always tell y'all, chosen ones. Baby, everybody doesn't have a calling to lead people. Everybody doesn't have a calling to lead people. And yes, of course, you could say, well, maybe he was a crackhead to then lead other people who are currently in the crack to lead them back to God. Maybe he did go to jail for, trafficking children, because he needed to speak to the people who traffic children, and maybe they want to get into the spiritual shit. No, baby, it sounded like to me that they needed another way to make money that wasn't track. Sounded like to me they were looking for a way out without looking for a way out. Sounded like to me they didn't really want to work on their issues, that they wanted to like sugarcoat and like soothe over. And so even going into the sense of a lot of these people not really being accepted or loved, and that's how they wanted to become a spiritualist. That's how they wanted to become a leader. They wanted to use this opportunity to be considered kings and queens and worship, because in reality, nobody saw it for them. In reality, they were the runt of their family. Now, I'm not self-projecting either, because we can speak about that as well. Because we was like, well, maybe this bitch self-projecting. But we're talking about what is public record for a lot of these spiritual people. And of course, I do believe that, the enemy will come and act like they are rehabilitated. And that, I've turned my life around. How did you turn your life around by yourself, though? If you couldn't do it on your own prior to these criminal cases, these criminal behaviors, what made these light bulbs go off? What made your brain go click, click? This is what I'm going to do. Because the ones I know that turned their life around that were heavy criminals, they had to go through therapy. They had to go through therapy. They had to go get that worked out and do their shadow work, clear whatever that energy was. And once again, if that is your story, that should be the topic of discussions. And even going into that, when you are a healed person, you don't want to maliciously and intentionally attack people because you know what it's like to be on the other end. You know what it's like to be on the other end, bullied, attacked. So you're like, why would I want to inflict the same energy that I've been inflicted upon me? And that's something too that people forget. Magically, we're dealing with energy. Magically, we're dealing with energy. Magically, we're dealing with energy. We're not sitting here and, well, for me, I was, bullied and whatever. And that's what led me into doing whatever I did. But that was my story. This person is a whole other story. But your energy is still involved. So the energy you're putting out, the energy that you're tapping into, although it's free flowing, although it's, everywhere, you could like channel that energy, to a certain degree. But ultimately, the picture is still bigger than what it is right now. The working you do right now will show up down the line, whether it's good or bad. And I always tell you, I'll guarantee it. The work you do right now will always show up down the line. So are you going to be okay with that when you're out of your mood? Let's say you want to fuck people up. Are you going to be okay with that when you're out of that mood? Where you're no longer mad at these people? And that's what I said too, baby. Once an ex to me is always an ex. Once we end our friendship, baby, unless it was miscommunication, girl, there's no going back. I would hate to think emotionally, from an emotional standpoint, that I was cussing you out and fuck that hoe and she thought this and and then we become friends again. I'm gonna feel so bad, bitch, because I'll be like, yeah, we wasn't friends. I was talking so much. Like, I don't know. Like I said, for me, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't allow you to abuse me or to try to pull me down, right? Because clearly we stopped talking because it was some real serious shit. I couldn't allow you to take me off my square and me feel some type of way about you that were not pleasant, and then we work through it and I'm instantly over it. That does not happen. Girl, I can forgive, but I do not forget. And that's not holding grudges. That's just how I am. And like I said, that's not going to change. You fuck me over, we can apologize, we can work through it, but the respect and the liking that I have for you prior to that situation will not be the same at all. And so that's what it comes down to. Like I said, leading by example. When will these people ever, if they truly care about their community, if they truly care about their community growing and elevating and thriving to be the best they can be? Because I care. As I mentioned before, and I'll continue to say again, me becoming a spiritual advisor was not about grabbing money. It was not about me offering the services because I know there was money involved. Clearly, baby, I would have had a criminal record. I was just about doing things for the money. I would have been a pill seller. I would have been a whole bunch of other shit. Baby, I've always made money legitimately, the legal way. My money has always been in a bank account. Okay, not hiding under the mattress, not locked up. So it's always been inside of a bank account. And so, like I said, when would these people, if they genuinely care about their community, when would they ever sit down and have a real conversation and say, people, y'all better wake up, because the outside world is watching, and how you're treating each other, they're going to think it's okay to treat you the exact same way. We were talking about some political stuff, and that's something too, y'all. This up and coming year, I don't want to talk about nothing political. Like I said, I'm going to maybe give comments on stuff. For me personally, I don't want to talk about nothing political. I think it's a joke. I think it's funny. I think it's pointless. I think it's stupid. I think a lot of people are brain dead. That's just my honest opinion. That's why I'm really messing with people on a personal level like that. I think people are brain dead. There's too many followers and not enough leaders. And of course, if everybody was leaders, then who would follow? That, of course, that's what you're going to ask. But in order to be a great follower, you have to be a great leader. And unfortunately, people have never led themselves. They've always been a follower. And so how are you going to help me get someplace? Because we're all here to help each other. If you don't know how to lead yourself there, how are you going to help me to find the best me or to become the best me if you don't know how to be the best you or find the best you? And like I said, ain't no going through the, you know, the mud and then all of a sudden you come out that and you know. Anyway, what I'm seeing politically, what I have been seeing politically for the past few months, and this is through all, girl, this is for everything. This is racially, this is sexually, this is gender wise, this is sexual orientation wise, this is race wise, like everything across the board. Because everything political has affected everything across the board this term. In the back of my mind, and we're going to step off of what is the real situations that are going on now. If there was a potato out there, the Idaho potatoes, and we found out the Idaho potatoes was, you know, brown, like everybody, you know, all potatoes are brown. Let's say that in this situation, unless it's a red potato, but we're just saying regular potatoes, right? Regular russet potatoes. The Idaho potatoes, somehow, some way, think they're better than these other potatoes. So the russet potatoes, the Idaho russet potatoes, is like, fuck all you other potatoes. I'm gonna be supporting the gold potato. The gold potato don't want the brown potato at all. They don't want the russet potato at all. The gold potato is, you know, softer, it's creamier. It thinks it's really the best potato. So it's like, baby, I don't want no fucking russet. I don't care if it's Idaho, Navajo, Ohio, California. I don't want it. And so this Idaho potato, russet potato, showed his motherfucking ass in support of this gold potato. Now, a few of these other potatoes, you know, potatoes from, you know, California, the, you know, potatoes from Florida. I don't think Florida grow potatoes, but still, you know, some of them were speaking about it. Like, oh, I can't believe the Idaho potatoes, you know, supporting the gold potatoes. When they know goddamn well the russet potatoes have always been the best potatoes and whatever. All of a sudden, when the gold potatoes are deemed the better potatoes, and you found out they were voted the better potatoes, even by some russet potatoes. This is all metaphorical, but this is all going somewhere. Now, all of a sudden, even the potatoes who did not care initially about the Idaho russet potatoes supporting the gold potatoes, now that the gold potatoes are deemed the best potatoes and they were voted in by even other russet potatoes, now all the russet potatoes are, oh my God, motherfuckers. And they all want to go for the yellow potatoes. Oh, I can't, gold potatoes. I can't believe you the best part. In the back of my mind, I'm like, these bitches are followers and not leaders. Because when it wasn't a big issue about the gold potatoes being the best potatoes, y'all were like, well, girl, we're not Idaho potatoes. I don't care what the Idaho russet is, you know, saying about the gold potato. We're not Idaho. We're Californian. Whatever. Now all of a sudden, like I said, they're deemed the better potatoes. Now all of a sudden they think they're the better potatoes because all potatoes are the same potatoes. You know, when it comes to equality, it's a potato's potato, potato. Now all of a sudden it's all the potatoes concerned that the yellow potatoes are deemed the better potatoes, but yet you were not holding the Idaho potatoes accountable for letting the gold potatoes think that it was the shit. And then even the ones, especially the Idahos, who was truly like, all of them were saying that the fucking gold were the best. You wasn't fucking with that before it became a public concern. Before everybody start going in on it. Or hell, when they start throwing away the russet potatoes, whether it was a California russet potato, a Navajo russet potato, bitch, then it became an issue. I see that with a lot of the stuff that is going on now. I see that it is a big concern once the ops have gotten it. Once the ops have recognized that it is it is nasty, it is disrespectful, now all of a sudden everybody's in an uproar and they want to fight the ops and those who potentially supported the ops. Baby, you should have been that upset when the people who looked like you and acted like you was putting on a performance for these people because they were looking. Remember, they were commentating. There were situations that were going on in the past, you will say 7 years, and the outside world, they were concerned. They were like, "Oh hell no!" I love the community because I have a brother, I have an uncle, I have a nephew, and even my godfather was whatever. And then, girl, when people were out here doing the foolish shit they were doing, their clownish behavior, the community thought it was cute. These people blew up. They got, awards. They were being spokesperson for beer company and shit. And clearly companies sponsor people and endorse people when they're popular. So they were not being supported by the ops. They're being supported by the people that should have been in uproar. Like, baby, the ops are watching you and they're going to start treating us all like they treat you. Like, get your shit together. Like I said, they thought it was cute. And then now that the ops have made it illegal to do certain things, now we're upset at the ops. No, baby, I'm upset at the motherfuckers who led the ops to this location. And like I said, maybe that goes into some trauma, to shit I've tapped into from past lives and past experiences that have happened to certain Americans over the past, few hundred years. But I'm like, baby, it was not the ops out here searching for you and just saying, "Oh, I think they're over here. Oh, they got to be over here," because they didn't have trackers on people. What it was is that, baby, people who look like you and act like you was giving them the red flag, putting the smoke in the air. Hey, it's over here. And then, bitch, when some people are like, "Hey, bro, stop doing that," because, they're going to feel something about, "Oh, I don't give a fuck. This is me." Like I said, so you didn't give a fuck when they were looking, because they really weren't looking. But we knew they were going to start looking because the smoke is in the air, and they're going to say, "Hey, where's that smoke coming from?" So you didn't give a fuck. So now that they hear and they found the smoke and they're trying to put out the smoke, they're trying to cover that smoke up. Like I said, me personally, I'm stepping out of that. That's not my business. It's not my concern. My concern is about winning. My concern is about helping those who want to help themselves. My concern is about helping my tribe of people. But, some people don't want to be saved. And, that's fine. If you don't want a better life, you don't want to do better, you don't want better, then I'm not here to force it. No one here should force anybody to do anything they don't want to do, right? If they want to, prance around as clowns and they want to be, disrespected and treated as clowns because clearly you're acting how you want to get treated, why are we concerned about that? That's not our business. And don't put us in it collectively, because I'm not a part of that. Don't put us all in it. We're all in it. Oh, it's all of us. Because if they do it to us, they do it to, yeah, but if you're that concerned and you really saw it as that initially, then you would have been getting on the people that look like you that are misrepresenting you. That would have been the real tea. You want to say, well, it's not my concern what they do, because that's them. If they want to freely express stuff the way, okay, there you go. So there you go. You said it. So they were free to do what they wanted to do. You're free to do what you want to do, and the ops are free to do what they want to do. So why am I upset that the ops want to do? Girl, bye. Like I said, for me, I'm not brain dead. I don't have a chemical imbalance. I'm not on drugs. I don't do anything. I sleep. I work. I sleep. I work. I live my life. Girl, that's it. Like I said, I'm no longer interested in dealing with people who don't want better out of life. People who do not understand, that they have the power. I'm no longer interested in that. If you want to live in misery all day, if you want to, tune in, because that's what you're doing, you're tuning your frequency into bullshit, and that's your guilty pleasure, so be it. That's your business. When things happen and you level up or you don't level up, like I said, just remember, the energy you put out, you will get back. Remember, the energy that you tune into will ultimately determine your reality. And that's it. And so that's where I'm going with that. That's how it is for me. Like I said, people should be held accountable, responsible for the decisions that they make. But why are y'all leaders not leading by example? Why do these people have all these spiritual answers, but they could not use spirituality to save their life? I mean, that's the real question. People got all the answers. They read all the books. They learned the recipe, but the recipe is not applied in their life. I mean, girl, I can go into a deep dive with so much people with public information and private information that was told about these people, about unfit fathers right now, even in 2025, not taking care of their kids. And these are spiritual leaders. These are conscious leaders. These are people that are allegedly, showing people the way. They're doing seminar stuff, $1,700 classes. They're selling herbs. They're selling, and I'm just like, it doesn't make sense to me. If you were able to tap into these abilities, why are you not doing them for yourself? Because I'm definitely going to do what I'm telling you that I'm doing for you. If I have an issue, I'm going to solve my issue before I can show you how to solve your issues. Real spirituals are not out here helping people without helping themselves. If you don't know what it's like to wear a fur coat, how are you going to have somebody else get a fur coat? If you don't know what it's like to eat fish, pollock, cod, whatever, how are you going to know what to tell other people what the fish tastes like? How would you know? So we're all spectators. We are all, I'm assuming, and also remember this as well. You will only be able to obtain the energy that you can comprehend. Comprehending something is a type of obtaining. A lot of people, and I would say the system itself is designed to make sure that certain people will never be able to comprehend certain things because they don't want you to get it. If you can, what they say, if you can see it, you can achieve it. They gave us the recipes. People just, I don't know what happened. Like I said, I be feeling like I'm in a Mandela effect. I be feeling like, girl, like I'm in a whole nother timeline. I be feeling like, girl, people are like stuck in the first dimension still. I'm like, what's going on? Like, it has to make sense. And even repeating back to yourself things, right? When you see things or you hear things, why would I do that? Yeah, ask yourself, why would I blank, blah, blah, and see what answer you get. And then this is how you're going to probably start waking yourself up. Because I was a part of that too. I would feel myself get into a certain energy when people say something. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Then I start thinking to myself like, but wait a minute, why would that matter though? Why would that matter? I will always have a space in my heart for innocent people. I will always have a space in my heart for children and the elderly because they have no control. Regardless of what these children are, who they are, how they are, same thing with elders, I will always have a spot. Everybody in between, I'm going to always question, well, hell, when it came down for me and mine, were you there? Were you fighting? Were you there to bring about a change? And it's each one teach one. It's about tapping and tipping. What they say, is it tit for tat? Yes, it's tit for tat. What have you done for me? For I can help you too. It's not just give. It has to be an exchange, honey. What have you done? What have you done? And even like I said, me personally, when things go on with people, baby, I really be, I be like, honey, I'm not tap on that because I'm like, girl, this could be karma. Things are going on. People like, say a prayer, do this and that. I'm just kind of like, God, see fit. That's the prayer. God, do whatever you see fit for this situation. Because I'm like, well, maybe this is something that you did a couple of years ago, months ago, and it's coming back to get you in the ass. And I told y'all the story. There was a guy, a teenager, that was taken out. And I was like, oh my God, this is so sad. Like, girl, you would have thought this was like my child in my situation. I was overwhelmed with emotion of this situation. And it became clear to me the situation of what happened because everybody was talking about it, but nobody was talking about what happened. And what had happened was the guy that was taken out actually, violated somebody's sister, and they came back and they retaliated. And it wasn't, that soon. It was like a few years later, but they still did it. And so they were like, yeah, but it's wrong because this person got their life together. They turned their life around. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, but he still spiritually did something to somebody. So in my mind, I'm just like, no, but that was karma. There's no prayer for that. I'm about justice. I'm about justice, babe. There's no praying for that. Oh God, yeah, God see fit. Yeah, it's unfortunate that his family, are left, mourning the loss of this violator. Yes, it's unfortunate that the family is left by, but the woman, his victim, and who knows how many other victims are out there. She actually came out and said it. Imagine what she got to deal with for the rest of her fucking life. Are you kidding me? And so that's what happened. And so I'm like, girl, like, yeah, I'm not interfering in that, babe. I'm human, so of course the emotion stuff are gonna come through. But I'm gonna tell myself in that moment, okay, baby, you got 2 minutes. After that, baby, let it go and let God. Whatever's be is gonna meant to be. God work that however you see fit. And that's how I'm gonna start being. There's no more emotionally involved in situations that people don't want me emotionally involved in or really don't care. Because I'm even thinking this as well, going to certain situations, having sympathy and stuff for people who really don't like you. You don't like me, girl. Why the fuck am I gonna send you good energy for? You don't like me. I'm gonna just stay in my lane and just keep doing my thing. Cause I'm not gonna do no bad shit on you, but I'm just gonna mind my business to keep it pushing. I'm not about to be here and be like, God, this person whooped my ass and did blame, but please help them. Girl, the hell, what I look like? And see, that be the shit they be setting us up for. They play us like we stupid. They want you to think that's how you've always been. You always been weak. You always been slapped up and beat up and still wanted to kiss somebody's ass. No, ma'am, not me. Not me, honey. I'm the rebellious type, baby. Not me. Baby, you probably got what you deserve. So like I said, I'm always reevaluating and step back like, well, maybe this is, out of their hand. Maybe they didn't do nothing bad and this just happened. But, well, maybe they did do something. This is coming back to them. Because the energy always comes back, hun. And that's how that works. There's no getting around it. And so anyway, let's see, y'all. I'll take my ass to bed, honey. Yes, honey. Oh, nobody. Oh, yeah. Let me go to bed, honey. Love and light, blogspot.com, honey. Yes, honey. I'm sure YouTube said, bitch, we ain't putting it out here with this bitch. And I said, I don't care. Bitch, I said my piece. We're keeping it pushing. Like I said, for those who need help, I'm always here. You can always reach me at 2838mystic@gmail.com, twospiritmystic.blogspot.com. Baby, if I'm not your flavor, that's okay. Keep it pushing. I keep it pushing, girl. Listen, we sleep good, we sleep well, and that's it, honey. We have a peace of mind. We live life to the fullest, and I hope everyone is also doing that. So anyway, y'all, bye for now, y'all. Take care, y'all. Yes, honey, and we'll be talking again soon. Like I said, 5 days of gifting, honey. Monday, like I said, it'll be on the blog site. You'll see when you're good up, honey. Bye for now. Love and light.